Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Diag. I got a Kia Sportage in here. It's doing some weird stuff I've never seen before, so I figured I'd bring you along. It's got a whole host of problems. Somebody's been here. It was an accident, so there's some other problems. But we will start out with this one. Number 4 doesn't work as far as blower motor. I have a light bulb hooked up, so you won't hear any blower motor. It's got other problems with AC, but we'll just start with this. 3 also does not work, except after you go to 2. 2 turns it on, full beans. Number 1, same thing, full beans. And then also, strangely, 0 full beans. And now if we go back to 3, it is still full beans until you put it on 0. This is a manual system. Not a automatic system, good old manual. So I'm gonna go. We'll just walk around. Why not? This is the diagram here of Mr. Manuel. The power comes up here from this fuse. Oop, look where you're doing. This fuse through the blower motor relay, which we know works because the light works, into this gray wire, supposedly at least. And then through the blower motor, and then ground is controlled by the resistor itself, and then the switch, and then obviously ground. So because it works full beans, I don't expect anything to be wrong with the ground. I don't expect anything to be wrong with the power. I'm either a resistor issue or a switch issue. Now because it works when it's off, I'm kind of thinking the switch, because that's the only thing that really makes sense right now. So just so you understand how the resistor works. So if it's on high, the wire goes, the electricity is conventional theory, is going this way through the blue wire and then straight through the switch to ground. That's full beans. So that's technically what should be the problem, is that right there. If we're doing low, what's happening is this can't go this way anymore because it's not on that high. So it's going through the blue, say it's on medium high, and then it's going through one resistor and then to ground this way. And then same thing with medium low, going through 2 resistors then to ground, and then that's how it limits it. Near blower motor, I didn't see it over there. Technically I should do testing here because it's harder to get to this, but with the issues I'm having right now, I really kind of want to go to this thing because nothing else would even make sense, because off, you can see off, should be open circuit no matter what, and no matter what speed I'm on, it's full beans. So I have had issues with a lot of Hyundais in the past doing some weird stuff, but usually if you finagle the switch it'll work, and I've never had it with off being on. So besides my normal judgment of going here, we're just going to go straight to that blower motor switch, I guess. Alright, it's now the next day. I have not taken this out yet for the fan portion of it, but I did notice on this module because this is a clutchless AC compressor, and this came from Auto Body Shop. It's been in a front collision, all the stuff in the front's been replaced, and they didn't charge the AC system, and these clutchless compressors don't really like to be run without any refrigerant. So refrigerant tends to be the thing that cycles the oil. Sometimes they have their own reservoir for oil. I don't think so in this one. It's usually like an electric compressor or something along those lines. So, but I haven't looked too much into that. But I did notice, I did charge it. It didn't kick on, and I did notice that the AC gets its signal from that unit. So more things to think about. There's also a couple of fuses here. One's Aircon 2, 7.5 amp, and then one's a memory fuse for linkage leak current auto cut device. I haven't looked up what do those do, but they're in a smart junction box on the left and a dash. So let's see if they're blown, I guess, and then go from there before doing any removing of center consoles or anything. Alright, I checked all the fuses in here. That didn't change anything. But then I started playing with these, and just like the weird stuff that was happening before. See here, we'll get these off. So it's off just like that. 4, and now 3 doesn't work, and now 2 turns it on, but the AC button does not work. The recirc will work, all the other buttons work. That does not until you go to 0, and then 0 it'll kick on, and it'll stay on all the way until you turn it to 4. Or did that stay on? Stay on all the way to 4, to 3, and then turns off. But it is building pressure, baby. The AC system is freaking cold. I don't know how well it's going to do in the summertime. I want to go make sure that the rad fan's working. Well, someone's been here, as you can see by the glue. Rad fan works. Oh, yep, it's variable speeding. Probably has to do with the AC pressure. And then it seems to be working down there. AC machine's sucking its hoses down. Alright, so now we just need to go figure out why this is all flippy flappy in the wrong way. So I guess I'll pull off panels and start looking at that. Alright, so I was about to start taking this out, and I was just going through TSBs really quick. And then I thought to myself, because I remember yesterday, I'm going to have to put the key back in it. I'm going to zoom out. So, goddamn door dinger. I remember yesterday I could not communicate with the AC system, and I noticed it was a Manuel system. So, a lot of the times, those will not communicate because there's really nothing there but the basic bone system, and as you can see, there's no communication here. We even do a fault scan, which I'm surprised there's like a no com codes, I guess, with it. Come on. See here, everything passes, no communication issue. AC is not responsive, but we can clearly see here in the manual, if this diagram's right, which, you know, I don't think it's wrong about this, but that there is a CAN bus, you know, high. There's a PCAN high and a PCAN low. So there's computer data lines, so you should be able to talk to this thing. And this is all obviously very weird, which usually weird stuff is a module problem. Anything that's acting a little kooky. Obviously we gotta check powers and grounds. I will say that, at least in the diagram, that this whole section has nothing to do with any sort of printed circuit board or logic of any sort, which is why I really didn't think about that to begin with. But it does seem like I should be able to communicate with this, and it's got to have some sort of logic if it's doing some sort of pulse width modulation to this electronic control module here. Not to mention, it needs to gather the pressure. So where is it? The PCM is a player in this game, and it talks on PCAN high and PCAN low, and it gets signal from the AC pressure sensor. So it needs to see the AC pressure sensor, and then it's going to pulse with it's going to talk to this module via the PCAN network, and then this is going to pulse width modulate this control valve for the AC. It's also needs to know that so it can talk to the radiator fan, the cooling fan right here, which is pulse width modulated from the ECU, CPWM fan control. So there needs to be talking on these lines, and I definitely need to check for power and ground, and then also I need to see what's going on here. I don't know if electricity somehow is getting somewhere it's not supposed to be. I don't know what this common is. That literally goes in and out. Blower, common ground. Maybe there's a ground that's missing, I guess. I don't know. And then there's a ground that's missing, and that's why it's working on off. Because, yeah, I don't know. It only works on high. That's interesting. It's something to think about. I'm gonna figure out how to take this off now so we can do actually testing, but just a brief overview what's going on in my brain. Alright, so I have it off, and you can see clearly that we got some hot and melty bits going on here. This was out at an angle before I pulled it off. Well, at least I think it was. I mean, it does take some effort to pop this off, but see if I put it back on. I'm assuming that this is not gonna clean up and do well, but I'll go get my diamond bits and kind of clean this up and clean that up, I guess, and see if that changes anything. Actually, before I do that, I will plug this one back in, and then I'll be the switch. The only thing I need to figure out is this COM wire that we were talking about here, which I'll pull up the wiring diagram. So I'm not really sure what that COM does in this switch. You clearly see it says COM. It's nice that they labeled it COM here. I'm curious if there's something going here. Maybe it goes to a default strategy. I would assume the only thing it could do would be either ground it or put power to it to tell it everything's working. So we'll figure that out. I think I've replaced just this part in the past in other Kias and Hyundais. Pretty common issue for these to get all messed up. But if I remember correctly, those are different symptoms. But all right, I'm gonna do some fondling and then I'll bring it back. Oh, by the way, to take this out, there is a bunch of screws here, 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 and one here for over there and all that. You got to take this crash pad off, which means you need to take this side panel off. Same thing on that side. You need to take the little side panel off to take that off, and then they say that you have to take this off, but you really just, no screws, just pull up really hard on this. It'll pop out enough so you can get it out of the way, so you don't got to take this off. And then obviously unplug the air. This is the hazard switch. I don't know why it's such a complicated hazard switch, to be honest with you, but yeah, anyways. Alright everybody, so I have figured out all the jiggly bits and why this, so it has only to do with this switch here, and the reason why the AC doesn't work, it has to do with that COM wire. So that COM wire, I used a test light just to make sure that there's some sort of resistance, but it's a ground circuit portion, so it's not really a huge issue with it. So I have a test light hooked up. I like to use test lights obviously so I can see if there's generating plenty of power around all that, and then also limits the amount of current they could possibly go through, instead of using a fuse. There's only 5 amps can go through here. It'd be the same or similar to using a 5 amp jumper wire with a 5 amp fuse. So I have the ground, which is the black one here. I know it looks like 2 blacks, but this bottom black's actually blue. That's the high speed, and we're on the green, which is medium high, which is fine. It actually won't be doing medium high fan speed because this will be limiting current. And then I have the ground side, more important, not the power side, the ground side of this. I don't think it would be an issue too because it's such a small amperage to do that, but I always start with the ground first, and then that's the small wire on top. You can see all the other wires are bigger gauges, so I gotta put you down. She fell out. So that's up on the top, and that's grounded, and now we're going to do this and make sure I don't melt any plastic. Probably should build something around that. And now the fan's blowing. You can't feel it, but it's blowing. And now if I switch it to AC, you can see the AC light lights up. If I take this light off, the AC light will go out. So that's what that comm wire has to do. That's how you check it. Now everything works as is. The only issue here is this button. So we have to figure out if they're gonna sell this switch separate. I also need to ask about this connector because the connector's melted. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it would work if I cleaned it up. Let's unplug this before I melt something. Put that down there somewhere. Show you. Pretty common issue with these for this, but I have, it's the first time I've ever seen 0 actually turn it on. It's usually like doesn't work on 4 or something. And you can see it got hot in there, so this pin's probably compromised. If I cleaned it up and kind of straightened it up a little bit, it probably would work. I mean, it'd probably work if you just shoved it back in, but possibly one more time. So we'll see what's available. But I only really need this white piece and then that pin to make me feel good. Let me turn this off before we kill everybody. And that's the problem. So good job not going to the resistor. The resistor, I mean, I'll check it, see what it looks like, but I don't see why a bad resistor would make the switch go bad. It would be the first time for me, especially with all the other keys. It's a pretty common issue for these switches to do this for whatever reason, you know. So that's that. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and thanks for watching.